Welcome back to Infinity Beyond. As we've seen in earlier chapters, space is rapidly evolving from a domain of exploration to a theater of potential conflict. But with every offensive capability developed, so too must come defenses. In this episode, we explore how countries are working to protect their critical space assets from the growing list of threats lurking above. Satellites are the nervous system of modern civilization. They enable everything from GPS navigation and banking to military reconnaissance and nuclear command and control. Disabling or disrupting these assets, either through collision, cyberattack, or jamming, can cripple a nation's economy or defense network in seconds. That's why defending satellites has become a top priority. Let's begin with situational awareness, the foundation of space defense. Nations are deploying a new generation of space surveillance systems. These include ground-based radar arrays, optical telescopes, and satellite-mounted sensors that track every object in orbit, from active satellites to tiny fragments of debris. The United States operates the U-Space Surveillance Network, SSN, monitoring over 20,000 objects in orbit. China and Russia have similar systems, and private companies are now entering this field, providing high-resolution data to governments and commercial users alike. But awareness is only the first step. The next layer is resilience, designing satellites that can survive attack or disruption. This includes hardened electronics that resist electromagnetic pulses, advanced encryption to prevent hacking, and maneuverability to dodge threats. Some satellites now have autonomous capabilities to detect jamming or interference and switch frequencies or routes in response. Another strategy is redundancy. Rather than relying on a few large, expensive satellites, militaries are moving toward constellations of small, distributed satellites. These swarms are harder to disable because even if some are taken out, the rest continue operating. The U.S. Department of Defense has invested heavily in programs like Proliferated Warfighter Space Architecture, which envisions hundreds of low-orbit satellites working in unison. But passive defense isn't always enough. Some countries are now exploring active protection systems. Imagine a defense satellite equipped with small interceptor drones or non-lethal lasers designed to blind or nudge away approaching threats. There are also proposals for space-based bodyguards, miniature satellites that escort valuable assets and ward off suspicious objects. It's not just about protecting satellites, though. The ground infrastructure is just as vulnerable. Launch facilities, ground stations, and data relay networks are potential weak points. That's why integrated defense planning now includes cybersecurity, hardened control centers, and even mobile command units that can relocate in wartime. To coordinate all these efforts, countries are building dedicated command structures. The United States created Space Command, SpaceCom, and the United States Space Force to unify space operations and defense strategy. NATO has declared space a warfighting domain, and other countries are forming similar organizations. Their mission is clear: protect their nation's interests above Earth's atmosphere. International collaboration also plays a role. In recent years, there has been an uptick in space security cooperation. The Combined Space Operations Center, CSPOC, includes members from the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and others, sharing data and coordinating responses to threats. Yet despite all these measures, the challenges remain immense. One key issue is debris. The more satellites and weapons we launch, the greater the risk of Hall-Kessler syndrome, a runaway chain reaction of collisions that could render whole orbits unusable for decades. That's why part of defending space means cleaning it up. Nations and companies are developing debris removal systems, from robotic arms and nets to laser-pushed deflection methods. And then there's the legal battlefield. Current treaties are vague and outdated. There's no formal agreement on what counts as an act of war in space. Is a laser that temporarily blinds a satellite an act of aggression? What about a cyber attack on a ground station? This ambiguity is dangerous. Without clear definitions and enforcement mechanisms, the space domain risks spiraling into chaos during a crisis. Here at Infinity Beyond, we emphasize that defense is not just about weapons. It's about foresight, cooperation, and responsible stewardship of the most critical domain of the 21st century. In our final chapter, we'll confront the ultimate question. Are we on the brink of the first real space war? And if so, what will it look like?